for those of you that are here. My name is Antoinette Logan. I am a life coach and founder of Bonded by Birth. Bonded by Birth is an advocate for parents and children dealing with ruptured relationships due to the separation or disconnection from one another. And we want to focus on the root of the problem today. I want to let you hear from Yoshiko so that you can know who she is and what she does. Ms. Green.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Yoshiko Green. I am a resident therapist. I have completed my master's degree. I've been in the mental health field now. This will be 19 years this year. And Miss Antoinette and I kind of came together so we can talk about, separation and coping with, from the life coach end and from the therapy end. So we're going to go into more detail about that in a little bit. So I just want to welcome everybody who's here.
Bonded by Birth focuses on parents and children being separated. But when you go to how do parents really deal with being separated from their children mentally, internally, then you think about how do children actually internalize being separated from their parents. And in most situations, they're not taught how to deal with it. They're just going through life. They're just dealing. There's no real way to reach that inner part that helps you figure out, like, how do I deal with this to a point where it's not going to be a repetitive problem? If we had an answer, we wouldn't be where we are today with so many families constantly repeating this cycle.
Traumatic experience for both.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Even the parents that give their children up on their own, they still go through something.
Yeah.
That when that separation takes place, there is something internal that happens in your heart and in your mind, mentally. And so many parents are looking for ways to cope with that. There are so many people. I mean, there are adults that are, in their 40s, and they're realizing right now, I'm dealing with a problem being separated from my birth parents. Like, yeah, I grew up with an auntie and uncle who took care of me, or a grandparent that took care of me and showed me lots of love and gave me all the things that a kid would need. When my cousins got bikes, I got bikes too. But I'm still dealing with a problem right now at 40 plus. How do we fix that? But before we fix it, we got to actually identify the root of the problem.
Right.
What is the root of the separation? At what point did that separation start to get embedded into our brains that we just, I don't know, just, it was like our realities and just be okay with it? Where did that happen at? Hello, everybody.
Hey, Mario.
So, I go back to, I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to give a bunch of dates, but I go back to the beginning that I can think of is back into like slavery days. So the man was separated from his family to go work in the field. Then the wife or the mother, she's separated from her children to go and be a mom to their master's children. In that situation, how are they coping mentally? You can't talk to your spouse or your other person because they're separated from you. You're already, and that's the core. That's before the children. But then now you separated from your kids and forced to be mama to somebody else's kids. And who do you go to and talk about? Talk about whatever you're feeling in your mind, whatever you're feeling in your heart. Who do you deal with that with? Then nobody. So what happened? Those feelings just became embedded in our DNA. So now we're just told to be strong, 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 and we just hold that stuff in. Then we move along to some more time. Now, here we are with the welfare situation. We'll give you food. We'll give you somewhere to live. But guess what? The man can't be in the household.
That's right.
So now we're saying, okay, I'm going to get this and put him out. We're basically learning from the fact that they can't be here. Oh, I can make it without him. I don't need him. Let me try this without him. So now, because they embedded that into our brain from the system, now we move along to being women that say, you know what? I really don't need no man. I want to
Don't
be
need
equal
a
to a man. Now I want woman
man.
independent. At that time, I want to be equal to a man. So now they say, okay, we
Yeah.
give you these rights. And now, even still, we are repetitively telling our children and those behind us, you don't have to have a foundation to have a house. Well, if you
Yeah.
got to have a house, it got to be a foundation, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
I look at all of those things collectively, and I think that that is part of how we got to the place where parents can feel like if I separate from my child, they gonna be okay and I will too at some point, even if it's not today.
Right.
That is a problem.
It is. It's a
So,
problem. And to kind of go back and piggyback off of what you were talking about, as far if I was to speak about the Black community and being separated from, I think that has become the norm. That the man is not there, because you will lose your benefits if the man is there. And at some time, if there's not a strong foundation, the man goes next door and makes a baby here and makes a baby there, and that creates I guess, separation. And
mm-hmm,
then I guess think about the involuntary separations. Those when you have the judicial system that gets involved, and
mm-hmm.
experiences that comes with that as well.
On all levels, there is something that I don't even have a word for it, because I compare it to animals. You pick any animal, whether it's a dog, a lion, a tiger, any animal. And when it is separated from its baby, especially the mama, it's going crazy, ready to bite and attack anybody in its way until it knows that its baby is safe. So if
Right.
animals have that natural instinct to react from separation, why would you not think that it is normal for humans to react to the separation? And it's not just your kids. It's separation from anything. Even
Yeah.
when separation is good, there is some forms of good separation. Even then, it's still
Yeah.
something that you have to learn how to cope with so it doesn't become a problem for you in the future.
I totally agree. One of the things that people may have to learn to do is, like you say, is cope. And how do you cope? How do you cope as a child being from your parents or parent? Um,
That's tough. Everybody don't always have a voice or an outlet to know how. Um, I know for the times in my life that I was separated from my parents, I was a writer. I would write and do poetry and things like that. Kids don't
okay.
always know how to do that and put it pen to paper and things like that. I used to have an aunt all the time that would say, I could always know what was going on with you by the things that you wrote. But even then,
Mm,
nobody came to my rescue to help me actually cope. I was just writing, but not having a fix to the situation. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So even still, it's like, yeah, you have an outlet, but is that outlet a complete coping mechanism in its own, or is there other things that's needed? That's up in the air, because I think you might need more with some, maybe less with others. I think it depends on the individual.
Right. Right. Let's see. So the role of the Black man as a father, husband, and community pillar has been devalued in the Black community. Sad but true. We must heal the Black man mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. What do you
I
think about
definitely
that?
agree. I definitely agree. How do you make the black man be the strong man that he is in the eyes of the woman that had to watch him be demasculated. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of tough.
Right.
But at some point, we have to break those mental barriers that are allowing us to constantly feel like he's devalued because of that. We have to be stronger mentally to know that what happened to him don't mean that he's not the same him. You know what I mean? Something just happened to him. That shouldn't take away from who he is as a man because of something he couldn't control or change. I mean, even if you're not chained up, if you got multiple people fighting one person and you still free, like you know, with your arms and legs, you still can't necessarily win that battle. So I'm gonna stop loving you because you lost that battle. That must mean that it must not have been the real love that's there. But why not? Why not though? There's something that happened.
That's true.
That made that feeling change. Is there a difference between rejection and separation anxiety?
Right.
I think there's a difference. What do you think?
Rejection and separation anxiety, there's definitely, I would say, a difference between the two. When you think about anxiety, you know, it becomes more of a feeling, you know, a nervousness, you know, that fear of losing something. And with rejection, I can't really say that you get the same feeling. I'm not sure. I guess maybe people process rejection differently. So I won't really say that that they're two of the same.
I agree. We need to learn how to recognize when there's an issue because, you know, when kids are of the broken home, they're dealing with separation, but parents are just keeping up with bills and life and whatever else. We aren't asking the right questions. We aren't doing the things that we need to do at home to get that conversation started, to pull those thoughts and emotions out of them. You know, it's just many different ways that we can start working with the kids in the house, because it's easy to say, oh, that's just a bad child acting out at school, versus saying, okay, this child is acting out, but why?
Right. Right. Why do adults feel that being separate from that parent is okay? Where did they learn that is normal? I'm wondering, where do adults learn that it's okay to have that separation in the home? So you have a child who's been separated from the mother or the father, but perhaps they're living with the other parent, and the parent feels that it's normal, you know, that the child should have no feelings or just get over it. I'm just kind of wondering, where did we start to normalize that? And why did we start normalizing that? And not taking the children's, you know, what they're going through into consideration?
That's a good question. I honestly don't have an answer. And I don't know if we can fix that problem if we don't know where it started. How can we fix it if we don't know what it is we really truly fixing?
Right. And I think that what you're doing, even by bringing awareness to it, that because we've normalized it so much, that people do not see that there's a problem. Because like you say, when we're talking about breaking cycles, so now we have a broken home.
Home after school and have dinner with my parents, and they asked me about school. I didn't have that opportunity because there was never both parents at the table and things like that. And as they get older, they're yearning for those things, those feelings, and those memories that they might be sharing with a friend, that, you know, showing pictures or just different things. These adults are yearning for that.
Yes.
What do you say to your child that is an adult and they want that feeling. You can't give it back. It's too late now. So when we
It's too
know
late.
that, what do we do to stop that from happening in the future? When okay, we can't live in the same house. That's just what it is. Now, what do we do to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
these children do not feel lost and left out and empty because they have no outlet?
So
Charlotte,
that's why I asked the difference between rejection and separation. Is the line just that thin? Look at it from that perspective. I guess that when you think about if the child feels rejected by that separated parent, maybe we can look at it from that standpoint. Um, what do you think, Antoinette?
I think that that it's very possible that the child can, when it comes to that situation, you could be feeling both. You can have anxiety from not knowing if you're going to have to separate from the parent you're living with to be with the other parent, and vice versa. You can have separation anxiety
Mm-hmm.
from visiting the parents you don't live with and not wanting to separate from them because not sure when that time comes again or if it comes again or what have you. But then there's also the rejection side. It's like, well, what if I tell my mom I want to live with my dad? Because now we're
Mm.
separated, but being afraid to to be rejected by mom to go be with dad,
Right,
or wanting to be with
right.
dad but being afraid to say, dad, I want to be with you, because you're afraid of the rejection from dad to come live with him.
From dad.
I mean, it's on both
Right.
sides, and yes, that line is very thin, I think.
Yeah. I think that since you put it like that, Charlita, that I will say that there is a thin line as well. So you made a very good point. I do want to thank everybody who joined on our first time around, and I know that y'all probably didn't know what in the world are they talking about.
Yes.
What is this that we've been pushing and promoting? Um,
Yes, thank you for
okay,
partnering with me on this. These
you are
separation
welcome.
conversations need to be had, and we can't be afraid to share this information with our kids, even though they're kids. We got to let them know ahead of time this
Right.
thing is real, but we're going to get ahead of it, especially if it's like a situation in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Sit them down, have that conversation,
Right.
share things with them. There are a lot of things on television right now that are showing separation all up and down the whole show that we watch. I love This Is Us. It shows so much
Mm.
separation, and also has some remedies. It can provoke you
Oh,
to think of ways that you can start to fix things in your own families. I'm having separation depression right now
right.
since my kids have grown up and left home. That is a facet of separation. And I'm glad that you said
Mm-hmm.
that. The goal for us is to bring major awareness to separation on all levels, not just between mother and child. I'm looking to do Separation Awareness Month, where we can dedicate an entire month to the many different facets of separation, how it affects us in the Black community, how we're coping, what are we doing. Share whatever's working for you with everybody else, and they can try it to see if it's working. Because I don't think that there's going to be just one technique, one thing that's going to fix this problem.
Right.
It's going to be a collective of things that we utilize, techniques we utilize to make life easier when coping.
Right. And we have to stick together. I think that, like that, collectively really sticking together and everybody kind of sharing what they're doing, because, there's not one cookie cutter situation that's going to fix everyone.
True, true. And
Yeah.
then another thing, we need to learn separation sensitivity. We need to learn
Mm.
how to be sensitive to one another that are dealing with these separation issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because in
Mm-hmm.
reality, they ain't by themselves. We done all separated from something at some point.
That's true. But I think, going back to my point is that it's been normalized, you
Yes.
know, and and some things I think that I wish that we had normalized the whole idea of separate from their children, and to assume that it's okay and they'll get over it. Either the kids will get over it or the parent will just get over it, because I don't think you ever really get over it.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. And I have so many friends that have experienced it one way or another. And especially the ones that experienced it as a kid, and then to see them as an adult and to be like, and see where they are, how they are, how they
Mm-hmm.
think, how they
Right.
move, their decision making technique. All of that
Mm-hmm.
is affected. All of it.
Right. That is true. All right. We want to thank everybody who has joined us. I want
Yes.
to thank you for inviting me. And
Thank
I
you for
want you to
coming.
kind of close out, like you say, about what your overall goal is, and
Thank
then
you.
kind of like what's the next step.
We will have another separation segment on March 22nd. We will be discussing, now that the problem has been identified, what's next? Now what? What's the next step?
Now what?
Now what? That's
Yeah.
March 22nd. That will be on Facebook Live. So be sure to follow Bonded by Birth on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, because we'll be hopping from media platform to the next,
All right.
bondedbybirth.com. And you can give your information for them to follow you as well.
Follow me, Yoshiko ENT, on pretty much everything, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Me, Yoshiko, YOSHAOENT. Um, if you are through anything and you just want to reach out, I'm not set up as of yet to take any therapy clients remotely. However, I can do light talking, listening, and perhaps maybe, trying to you with someone that's in your community. And Miss Antoinette, she's actually a life coach, so that's something that she can do from anywhere. So if you feel that could benefit from, life coaching, especially with the sensitive topic, definitely hit her up to get that additional support that you may.
Yes, and if you look on our website or on our social media, there will be up and coming coaching programs. One that's already in the works is C4PDS, Coaching for Parents Dealing with Separation. It's a program that is dedicated to helping you understand where you are internally and mentally, and then moving forward for the positive, to make a positive impact on your life with coping with this separation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Yoshiko, for being here. I appreciate it. And
You're welcome. Thank
I will
you.
talk to you all again next time.
All right.
All righty.
Bye, ladies. Bye,
Bye-bye,
gentlemen. All right.
everybody.
Bye-bye.